Aloha Algebra 2. Today we are going to section 4.7, which is the quadratic formula. Okay, a formula that you're going to have to use, all the way through the rest of your math careers, okay, whether it be math classes in high school or as you get on to college, all right? So go ahead and look at your notes, okay, and hopefully you printed these notes out. But we have our title, our objective to solve quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. And able to do that, what we do is we find what we call the discriminant. And the discriminant is very, very important for a number of reasons. So let's get it. There is our discriminant, and this is the quadratic formula, okay? The quadratic formula is x equals the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. That stuff in red right there is called the discriminant. Very, very important. All over 2a. All right. Now, why is the discriminant so important? Because I'm going to teach you guys that that's going to be something that we always find first. And if we find the discriminant and the discriminant is bigger than 0, which means it's positive, that means it will have two answers and it will cross 2 times, right? All of these, we use the quadratic formula for quadratics, which means it will be a parabola. And when you have a parabola, your parabola is either going to cross 2 times, 1 time, or no times. And the discriminant tells us how many times it crosses it. Okay, I'll say it again. If we end up getting a positive, then it's going to cross it 2 times. If we end up getting the discriminant equal to 0, we only have one solution, which means it either touches it as a minimum value or touches it as a maximum value. And then last but not least, but if we get a discriminant that is less than 0 or negative, it's going to give us a negative underneath a square root, which you're not allowed to have, which visually means it never ever hits the x-axis, which means it could never ever be 0. Very important to pay attention to that. Now, how do we use that? Okay, for one, we don't like to graph all of these things. Okay, so once again, these would be examples of non-calculator problems on your SAT. All right, so here we go. I have a quadratic equation. All right, and we're just going back to the lesson we just did, right, in 4.5. If I was to solve this quadratic equation, the first thing I would want to do is get a 0 on the one side. So whoops, so I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides. Okay, so I still have a minus x minus 4 is equal to 0. Now remember, the way we did this in the past is, could I factor that? No, so we would come over here and do the x stuff, and I would get the 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, and then I get a negative ichi. But nothing works. If nothing works in the past, right, in section 4.5, we had to use our calculators. But you can actually do this without your calculators. How? You find the solutions using the quadratic formula. What is the quadratic formula? It is x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of the discriminant. What is the discriminant? Let's make it this fancy purple. I like it. Okay, all over 2a. All right, that's it. Now, able to do these, I'm going to encourage you guys to always find the discriminant first. Now, able to use this quadratic formula, the first thing we are going to do is we're going to locate what our a, b, and c is, which we've been doing this. A equals b, 2, b equals negative ichi, and c equals negative 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to find the discriminant first, okay? Because I think it is very, very helpful to do this, and it keeps our work very nice and organized. So finding the discriminant is part of our side work. So let's go ahead and do it. What is the discriminant? Well, it's b squared minus 4 times a times c. Okay, what is b? B is negative 1. So we're going to go negative 1 squared, right? Whenever we substitute, we use parentheses. Minus 4 times a, what was a? It was 2 times c, which is negative 4. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally means we do parentheses first. You can't do anything in the parentheses. So then I go to exponents. Negative 1 squared is ichi. Okay. And then after you do your exponents, you go to multiplication. And I have a lot of multiplication. Remember, you do multiplication from left to right. So negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And then you do negative 8 times negative 4, which is a positive 32. So if you do all that right, I get chirty. Okay, I get 33 as my answer. Now I can go ahead and I can finish finding the solutions, which is x equals the opposite of b. Well, what's the opposite of negative 1? It's positive 1. Plus or minus the square root of 33. Now, 33 is positive. What does that mean, class? That means swing. There's two solutions. So that means I have to get two answers. So let's find out what those two answers are. Okay, so it's x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 33 all over 2 times 8, which is 2 times 2. So here are my answers, class. I get 1 plus or minus. Do you guys know what the square root of 33 is? I know the square root of 36 is 6. Okay, but I don't know what the square root of 33 is. So guess what? You get to leave it like that. All over 4. All right, and then it's just important to understand that there's actually two answers going on here. What are the two answers? Well, the two answers, I'm going to write them down because some work that we do is I will want you to write it actually as two answers. So my two answers, final answers here would be x equals, whoops, let's get that red going. All right, x equals, okay, come on. We're still erasing here, huh? I need my pen. X equals 1 plus the square root of 33 over 4. That's one of the answers. Okay, or remember, we always use or for these guys. X equals, sorry about this, 1 minus the square root of 33 all over 4. So that's an answer, and that is an answer. I got two answers. How did I know that? Because the discriminant was positive. All right, let's keep on rolling. And that's all we're doing here. This lesson probably is going to be not too long because it's just a little practice makes perfect. Okay, and I'm going to show you something also in terms of relating the quadratic formula to all of the problems we've been doing so far. And I'll be able to tell here if this actually is one of them. Okay, remember the first thing we're going to do for A is we're going to get a 0 on a side, so we're going to add 4. Okay, now I want to show you guys. Actually, let's go ahead, and we've been doing quadratic formula, and it says use quadratic formula, so let's get it. Okay, how do I use a quadratic formula? Well, first you need to know what A is, you need to know what B is, and you need to know what C is. Right? Okay. So let's go ahead and do the quadratic formula now, which is x equals the opposite of b. And I think it's very important to always write out the quadratic formula. Okay, that's the discriminant, remember, all over 2a. Now remember, I want you guys to always get in the habit of doing side work first. What is my side work for quadratic formula problems? It's finding the discriminant first. So let's go ahead and do that. It's b squared minus 4ac. Let's find out what's b. B is 4, so it's going to be 4 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 4. Okay, so what does that give me? 4 squared is 16 minus 4 times 1 is 4. Oh, what? Zero! Well, what did it mean if my answer was zero? Let's see how quickly I can get back here. Oh, if it's zero, I only get one solution. Well, how the heck does it work out that I only get one solution? Okay, well, let's go ahead and find out what that one solution is. So we got x equals, that's the opposite of b. What's the opposite of b? What's positive 4? So the opposite would be negative 4 plus or minus the square root of the discriminant, which was 0, all over 2 times a, 2 times 1. All right, so it's x equals, do you guys at home know what the square root of 0 is? If you do, you simplified it. The square root of 0 is 0. All right, so we get negative 4 plus or minus 0 all over 2 times 1, which is 2. So remember, whenever you do these, you want to write out your two answers. Let's use this fancy, cool purple. So I get x equals negative 4 plus 0 over 2. And whenever you know the square root, you got to work it all the way down. Okay, that means it would be negative 4 plus 0. That'd be negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. That's one of my answers. Well, what's my other answer? Let's do that in this pretty little brown. X equals negative 4 minus 0 over 2, which is negative 4, which is still negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. Oh! I got two answers, but they're the same answer. That's why there's really only one answer. All right, so that's what happens when you get a discriminant that is 0. Now, I want to show you guys something, and I want you to remember what that answer was. Okay, remember, I got one solution, and the answer was 0. I want to see which way you guys like better. Let's go back to section 4.5, okay, because we're going to have to do all of this stuff for our quizzes and our tests. And let's see, that's a trinomial. There's nothing in common. Let's see if we can do a little side work this way, right? First guy times the last guy is 4. Middle guy is 4. Does anything work out at home? 4 times 1? No. What about 2 times 2? Oh, 2 times 2 works. Can I do this the super duper fast way? For sure I can, right? So I go x, and I go x, and I still go equals 0, but then that's a plus 2 and a plus 2. Okay, going back. Let's go, spling, right? And then I go x plus 2 equals 0, minus 2 minus 2. I get x equals negative 2. Isn't that the answer we got from the quadratic formula? For sure it was. X plus 2 equals 0, minus 2 minus 2, x equals negative 2. Oh my gosh, I got two answers, but they're actually the same answer, so there's really only one answer. I got that same answer using the quadratic formula. Was this more work or less work? 100% less work, right? 100% less work. But the quadratic formula and the factoring give me the same. But the cool thing about the quadratic formula is it always works. The factoring only works is if this guy works, right? So you do need to know all methods. And like anything in life, we want to be efficient. Okay, we want to be efficient. So that's what it's all about, is being efficient. Okay, here we go. Let's check out this one. That's already in beautiful form. Okay, this one here, if you try your little x, it won't work. So you can't factor this bad boy. So since I can't factor this bad boy, I need to know what A is, I need to know what B is, and I need to know what C is. I'm going to do my little side work because I should always find my discriminant first, which is B squared minus 4AC. Okay, B, what's B? It is a 4. Okay, so we got 4 squared minus 4 times 1, which is 1, times C, which is negative 3. So that would be, ooh, that should be in parentheses. Shame on you, right? Because if it was negative, that'd be very important. That'd be 16 minus 4 times 1 times negative 3. So that'd be 16 minus 4 times negative 3. That'd be 16 minus 12, which is 28. Okay, positive, which means I get 2 solutions. So now you got to find the 2 solutions, which would be x equal the opposite of b plus or minus the discriminant. Okay, all over 2 times a, which would be x equals the opposite of b, which would be negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 28 all over 2 times ichi. So I get 2 answers, right? I get negative 4 plus the square root of 28 over 2. Or, and you don't know what the square root of 28 is, neither do I, so that means we don't have to simplify that, or negative 4 minus the square root of 28 all over 2. All right, and those would give you decimal answers. So if you did do this via the calculator, that is what would happen. Okay, now believe it or not, we really only have one last type of problem we need to do. That's it, and then we call it a day. And you guys just make sure you're keeping up with any extra problems that I am giving you guys at home. All right, now which one of these I'm trying to find out. You know what? I am going to make up my own. This one looks a little bit different. I'm just going to talk about this one really quick. You would just distribute first. Okay, class? And then after you would distribute, you would go a little this bad boy. Okay? And then you would do the quadratic formula from there. Okay? And that's all you would have to do to be able to get that one correct. All right, but here we go. I want to do the last scenario that you guys could come up with here, okay? And for the last scenario, let's go with 2x squared. I need a 4, an A, and a C. Okay, let's go minus x, and let's go plus. Yes, that should definitely work its way out. Okay, equals zeta. All right, okay. So let's go ahead and look at this bad boy, and it says let's use the quadratic formula, so let's get it. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go with the discriminant with my side work, which is b squared minus 4ac. Okay, and then I go b squared. Well, what's, remember, a equals 2, b equals negative 1, and c equals 3. So we go negative 1 squared minus 4 times a times c. Negative 1 squared would be ichi. I should have equal signs there. Minus 4 times 2 times 3. 8. 8 times 3 is 24. And that gives me a negative 23. Now let's go back. What did it tell me if I got a discriminant that was negative? It means I would get no solutions. So believe it or not, if you were given this type of problem on our quiz or test coming up and your discriminant was negative, you'd say, Dunzo, no solutions, homie Holmes. No solutions, homie Holmes. And right now in Algebra 2, until we learn the last lesson, that's how we have to keep that answer. Okay, in the last lesson, we're going to actually learn how to handle what we call some of these imaginary situations. All right, now I'm just going to make sure we're aloha out. Let me check. It says I got a couple more pages. It's probably just practice problems. There you go. Practice problems and practice problems. All right. Aloha. I will see you when I see yas.